missed. Goes on about the Garden of Eden, formed man. Okay, this is interesting. And the Lord God formed man of the dust, Genesis 2:7. The creation of man and woman are described in the first chapter. Male and female created he, them. This is recorded as a work of God, El or Elohim, the universal God. But in the second chapter we read about Yahweh, the Lord. This term was known to the Hebrews only after the Exodus from Egypt. The Hebrew patriarchs had never used it. Elohim or El, the God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, is a universal God, the creator and the source of life. It's actually El. But Yahweh, the Lord, was a tribal God with limited powers. He was stronger than the lords, gods of other nations, but at times he was limited to geographical location. He was the Lord of the mountainous areas, who could not direct a battle in the plain. The Hebrews in Egypt had lost some of their knowledge of the God of their forefathers. Moses didn't even know the name of the deity of his living people until God told him, I am Ahia, Asher, Hiyah, the living God, the one which always has been. That's probably in the Eastern Syriac, whereas in the Tav Asher Lishan Atika in Cyprea in that same chapter, the Exodus, same chapter, it says Ahiyah Asher with Ashur, Hiyah, Hiyeh. So yeah, slight difference there. Probably same pronunciation, but it's just spelled different. Asher or Ashur was the name of God because this is all Assyrian, okay, Syrian, etc. And these people dwelled in the land of Ashur, and that was the God. So you'd have Ashur Banipal, which is like, he's not saying I'm God or I'm divine or anything like that. He's just using that as a title. God man, right? Or one who has that authority from God. Ashur Banipal. That's why you usually have Ashur, and it has a dash between Ashur Banipal. Or most people see it with a complete name, full name, Ashur Banipal. But that's exactly what it means. The second account of creation is based on the Jehovistic idea of God, a tribal God. In other words, God is portrayed as a man, limited in his powers and knowledge. Garden of Eden. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, Genesis 2:8. The term Eden is derived from Eden, a moment or a season that is time. It also means pleasant, delight, and temporal. Material pleasures are delightful, but they are temporal. We believe that Eden, E-D-I-N, is from the Sumerian. And they're supposed to be like distant descendants of them, even though supposedly, this is what we read, that the Sumerians weren't Semites. They weren't Semitic, but the Akkadian, the Babylonian, and the Mesopotamians, the Assyrians, etc., who dwelt there, they were. But you have to go do some personal research on that, your own research on that, to verify that, because sometimes the information you come across is incorrect, and you don't realise it till later on. The author of Genesis places the location of the garden between the two historic rivers, the river Euphrates and the river Tigris. The garden is a fertile land between these two great rivers in the region north of Iraq. Way back it might have been called Iraq, E-R-E-C-H. Kurdistan, where vegetables and trees grow without being planted or cultivated. Rhubarb, asparagus, green peas, celery, tulips, a kind of endive, and many other varieties of vegetables grow wild in the basins of these two great rivers. Wheat and cotton also grow in the area. Moreover, grapes, pears, apples, almonds, figs, and walnuts, and many other trees are plentiful. Medicinal herbs are also collected here by both native and foreign doctors. This is why this region was called the Garden of Eden, or Paradise, derived from a Persian word Pardesa, meaning a park or garden. This region in northern Iraq is like a paradise compared with the parched lands of Arabia, Syria, and Palestine. Water is abundant. Beside the two great rivers there are many streams and brooks, and the climate is temperate, dry, and healthful. This region became the symbol of a delightful land abounding with trees, vineyards, vegetables, and water. The Garden of Eden was also called the Garden of God. This is because God planted the trees and vegetables and made it beautiful in every way. Ezekiel 31:9. Okay, here's the tree of life. explanation of that. Okay, you got down here, tulip bulbs are eaten. Wow, I didn't know you could eat tulips, especially when other foods are scarce. Okay, maybe in that land it's a different kind of tulip, but there might be someone out there who's Swedish or something, Dutch or whatever, where they have the tulips and the clog shoes, that can say, yeah, you can eat those. We eat them all the time. Okay, something different. You learn something different every day. It goes on about the tree of good and evil, etc. Okay, what's up here? What's down here? Where does this indication come from? Okay, what does it say? Darius, king of Persia, in the 4th century BC, warned one of his officials who was transferring trees and plants from the region of the Garden of Eden, east of the river Euphrates to Asia Minor. During the Roman occupations of some of the land adjacent to the garden area, the Roman generals also transferred many varieties of plant and trees to Italy. Okay, we're looking for that footnote indication. Some sort of warning about moving them. Where the heck is this thing? In relationship to this. I can't see it at the moment. Okay, can't see it. Still looking, still looking. It's in there somewhere. Pison, these are the different rivers, right? Gihon. Okay, Pison. The name of that first river, like Garden of Eden, then it wasn't watered, so God had this river running through the Garden of Eden, or running around it, and He split it into 4 tributaries, or 4 heads. Okay, one of them was Pison, Gihon. Have a look at that. The name of the first is Pihon, that is which it compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. Okay, so it goes around there. Havilah was probably modern Kuwait. We'll have a look here. The Aramaic reads Pishon. The difference here is due to the Hebrew and Arabic languages, where sh is often pronounced as s. It's like the Greek. It doesn't have that sh sound. Havilah might be the region of the river Zab, a tributary of the Tigris. Zab means gold. A metal called beryllium is found here. It has been wrongly translated bdellium. The error was caused by the confusion of the letters resh with daleth d. These 2 letters are almost identical. There are 4 rivers which merge together and become the Tigris and Euphrates. The land of Havilah might be a region in eastern Mesopotamia or in Arabia. The author of Genesis was describing fertile areas or deltas which were suitable for human habitation. There is a river in northwestern Iraq called Peshawar. The names of rivers, like the names of seas and cities, often change. At times when famous cities were conquered, the conqueror gave them new names. Gihon, and the name of the second river is Gihon, the same as that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. So went around Ethiopia, or through Ethiopia. The name of the second river is Gihon. The Semitic name for Ethiopia is Cush. Okay, that's the Hebrew, the Aramaic Hebrew name for it. And it's, okay, here it's got a C, according to Lamsa. The regions of Midian and Yemen were known as Cush. The Ethiopians ruled somewhere southwestern. They ruled southwestern Arabia for many years. Gihon might be the Nile, which compasses the land of Ethiopia. The Nile that runs through it, right? Or goes around it. Or goes past it. Then again, Cush is mentioned in Genesis 10:8 as the father of Nimrod, whose kingdom began in Babylon, in Erech, or Iraq, Akkad, Aramaic Akkar, and Kalne in the land of Shinar. Cush might originally have been an ancient region in Assyria. There you go. Person out there? Assyria. We knew we'd seen it somewhere. It might originally have been an ancient region in Assyria named after Cush, the father of Nimrod. So he wasn't necessarily black. The present Ethiopia, we might not be black at all. The present Ethiopia was unknown and uninhabited at this time. Mankind had not yet multiplied and spread over the face of the whole earth, even if it was a one giant landmass. Okay, nobody had named it Africa, nobody had named it Israel. They were just a landmass. Okay, wasn't named that until the descendants of Israel, the Israelites, or maybe Jacob was there, whatever the story was. Okay, These rivers might be named after the original rivers in and around the Garden of Eden by the people who migrated from here, as in the case of English and American cities. So, to those out there, that's Pan-Africans, those US, Hebrew Israelites, etc., that say it all started in Africa, Egypt, sorry, you are completely wrong, according to these scriptures, if it started there. Okay? The first civilization was Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, not Egypt, because the people had to, according to these scriptures, certain descendants, sons of Noah, sons, descendants, then became the Egyptians. Then there wasn't like the Egyptian first and then Noah, etc., right? Or Noah didn't come out of the ark and, oh yeah, he's got this African black son and he's going to be the forefather of Egypt. Yet, okay, because it says these sons, these descendants, or their descendants ended up in Cush, Put, Mizraim, which is Egypt, and Canaan. Yeah, you can't verify exactly at that point who was there, what colour they were, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But for argument's sake, people say, "Oh, okay, they were black, they were Chinese, or whatever." You can't pinpoint that is exactly what they were. But the Tab Eshet Berita, the Exodus, does indicate that these people became the Medes, the Greeks, the Egyptians, whoever, okay, at a later date, a later age, or so many hundreds of years later. Try put an exact time to it, if you can. So, again, Cush is mentioned in Genesis 10:8 as the father of Nimrod, whose kingdom began in Babylon, in Erech, Akkad, Aramaic, Akkad, and Kalneh in the land of Shinar, or Sumer, right? Cush might originally have been an ancient region in Assyria, named after Cush, the father of Nimrod, and hadn't been invaded, right? That area hadn't been invaded, it was part of that country, right? It wasn't invaded till later. Possibly when the Akkadians were there, something like that. Do your research on it. The father of Nimrod. The present Ethiopia was unknown and uninhabited at this time. Mankind has not yet multiplied and spread over the face of the whole earth, right? Because they're at the Tower of Babylon, at the Tower of Babel, building that tower, and then they get spread all over. They get scattered by God, who gave them multiple languages, right? These rivers might not be named after the original rivers in and around the Garden of Eden by the people who migrated from there, as in the case of English and American cities. Hiddekel is another one of the rivers, and the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goes towards the east of Syria, Well, okay, at that time it wouldn't have been Assyria, because this is a end prefix or suffix, which means that the people that were there were occupying this particular land, that geographical location. This is a Greek loan word, Greek Latin probably, okay, because the Greeks went there, maybe dwelled there for a while, or just visited it, or whatever they did, and they went back to their homeland, and they said, "Oh, where you been?" "Oh, we went on a long journey, mate." "Oh yeah, discovered this land." "Oh, what was it called?" "The land of Ashur." But they didn't have a sh in their language, so they called it Assur. Okay, and then some point they put this on the end, this end suffix, to so that people could understand that's the geographical location where these particular people of Ashur dwelled. They were possessing it. Okay, and the fourth river is Euphrates, which is the Mesopotamian Syrian area, right? Part of that Near East. The Hiddekel Aramaic Deklat is another name for Tigris. Dekli means palm trees. Mesopotamia, Iraq, is noted for date-bearing palms. About 4/5 of all date palms grow in Iraq. The Garden of Eden is near the sources of the river Tigris. It wasn't in northwest Africa or anything like that. And the river Euphrates in northern Iraq. Even though there might have been one giant landmass, some people are saying, "Oh no, it was in West Africa," and all this sort of stuff. You know, totally false. Okay. Water is symbolic of light and life. This fertile region was the first to be populated and thus became known as the cradle of the human race. Mesopotamia, not Egypt. Oh no! They'll be pulling out their locks. The inhabitants of this land were responsible for some of the greatest discoveries, notably the alphabet, the calendar, the chariot, military organisations, and many scientific discoveries. But the thing with that, being a civilization, they weren't very civil, right? If they were fighting with each other, killing each other off. You can give credit to the Egyptians who got it together, north and south, upper and lower, and created this civilization, and they were, united, all that sort of stuff, and they fought everybody else. Yeah, they might have had their little squabbles, but anyone that invaded them, they fought them off, defeated them and fought them off. Okay, so they were, in that sense, the true civilization. Not civilization, but civil. Yeah, they're all good to each other. They didn't fight with each other, they didn't stab each other and go to battle with each other, as far as we know. Okay, the author of the book of Genesis located Eden in a region where the fruits of all kinds of vegetables grew wild. The desert Arabs, they're wanderers, right? Not Muslims or Arab Muslims. The desert Arabs live on dates. Dates. Don't mind them in scones, but the mountains are graced with fruit trees, vines, green peas, rhubarb, celery, and scores of other varieties of vegetables. Moreover, the climate is ideal and temperate. Eden means delight or temporal. This region is the most delightful one in that part of the world. Paradise is the Persian or Babylonian word for garden. Remember the Babylonian gardens and all that sort of stuff that somebody built? One of those kings. Eden means delight or temporal. This region is the most delightful one in that garden. Was it hanging gardens, right? Was it? In that part of the world. Paradise is the Persian or Babylonian word for garden or an orchard spread on the ground. And garden is often metaphorically used as meaning a wife. Song of Solomon 5:1. See Garden of Eden, Genesis 2:8. Speech. Okay, all of God's communication with Adam and Eve took place in a divine revelation or intuition. As long as Adam and Eve were obedient to God and perfect, they perceived every command of God. There was no language at that early time as we have today. All words and languages were born out of human necessities in a gradual way. Okay, so he's saying there's no language at all. Then what happens with the Lishana Articus Prayer, the supposed sacred scribal language spoken by God, the language of God that he used to speak to them? There's something wrong there, right? But he's probably referring to there's no languages as we know it. Russian, Chinese, Swahili, all that sort of stuff. Okay, there's only this one Lishana Articus Prayer, but I don't think he mentions it there, that Adam and Eve, etc. spoke, because God spoke it, right, to them. Where are we? There was no language at that early time as we have today. All words, there you go, as we have today. All words and languages were born out of human necessities in a gradual way. This is also true of the prophets and men of God who, after overcoming their physical weaknesses, communed with God by means of dreams and divine revelations. God spoke to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, and to Joseph in dreams and visions. At times, the words and ideas were conveyed in a symbolic language. Adam and Eve could hear the inner voice speaking to them, guiding them and admonishing them. So it wasn't a big booming, "Hey Adam, hey Eve," right? "Thou shalt not step on the grass," or something like that. It's all inward. He's speaking to their mind, probably. Good and evil. Tree of knowledge. There's no record of anything evil being created by God. So forth. The rib. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he woman. The term rib metaphorically means support, a sustainer or a helper, to stand by man and help him in a cold and hostile world. This is Eastern mindset, right? It's very, very different. The woman was created as a helpmate or as an assistant, and therefore she is man's rib, because man leans on her just as the human body is supported by ribs. In the first chapter of Genesis, we are told, male and female created he them. Genesis 1:27. Causing of the sleep surgery and the rib are used in order to explain the close similarities between man and woman. They both were created. See, there's what's that called? Open surgery. A bit of anaesthetic there. Put them to sleep, work on them, heal them up. Yep, open and closed surgery, with that sort of stuff. Okay, so by God is one. Humanity speaking, they are two, but spiritually they are one. because they entwine, right? A woman has an extra rib simply because she needs more room in her body in order to be able to conceive and bear children. Yeah, you don't want to have a child and then there's a damn rib in the way. A woman is weaker. Okay, read that again. Oh, she has extra one. Okay, talking about the man. He's missing one, right? Yeah, sorry about that. Got around the wrong way. The woman has an extra rib simply because she needs more room in her body in order to be able to conceive and bear children. A woman is weaker than a man, but not inferior to him. Guys, she's not inferior to you. All of God's creations were perfect and good. All men and women are created equal. Think on that one. So she's not inferior to you. She's weaker, but she's not inferior to you. Both Adam and Eve were created in the image and likeness of God. The woman was blamed for the fall of man. In the East, women are blamed for everything. Oh, poor woman. Okay, yeah, because Eve played the blame game. She said, the serpent. Adam played the blame game to start. Oh, this woman gave me that fruit I wasn't supposed to eat. And then she goes and plays the blame game. Yeah, but the serpent over here, he gave me it. Right? So they all got cursed for their partner playing the blame game. Okay. In the East, marginal notes are sometimes incorporated into new texts, especially if the writing is the work of a man of God. Scribes, who are the copyists, generally copy any important material which is written on the margin of the manuscript, like the Book of Q. Gets all in the margin. What is it? E for Elohimus. Y for Yahweh. S for scribe. And P for priest or something like that, right? Okay. Where are we? In the early days before the scrolls were canonized, new material was inserted into the new scrolls. The Old Testament was canonized at the Jewish Council of Jamnia about the end of the first century after Christ. According to the second chapter, a woman was made from man's rib, and since she was made from man's rib, a man and his wife were one and not two. Okay, look at it this way. You have man, and then you have woman, which is really, in the Hebrew, is she came out of man. She was from man. She's womb man. Yeah? Because she had a womb. Womb man. She's a feminized man. Not an effeminate man, but a feminized man. A womb man. But she's got softer curves, breast paps, estrogen, certain milk with estrogen in it for the child that she bears or the children that she bears, etc., etc. She's not rough and hairy all over, like a man. She's very feminine, very soft, etc., etc. Okay. Marriage was meant to be monogamous from the very beginning. God created one man and one woman only. Polygamy was a man-made ordinance dictated by man's physical desires and greed for power. Jesus disapproved of polygamy. But then you get in Genesis that Lamech had two wives, Ada and Salah or something like that. And he killed a husband in his lechery, something like that, and a young man also. So he had these two wives. Because he said, listen up, my two wives. Okay. Moreover, man must cleave. Okay. Jesus disapproved of polygamy. He said, have you not read that he who made them from the beginning made them male and female? Matthew 19:4-6, Mark 10:6. Moreover, man must cleave to his wife, simply because it is not good that a man should be alone, or take another man's wife and break his home, or mess with another man. Right? Comes up in the commandments later on. In biblical days, princes, kings, and powerful men took the wives of other men by force and deserted their own wives. No matter when this verse was revealed and written, it is one of God's commands. Jesus quoted it and upheld it as an original ordinance of God. Okay, and then they were naked because they sinned, apparently. Okay, they were both naked, man and his wife, and we are not ashamed. At this early stage, Adam and Eve knew nothing about sin. Everything which God had created was good, etc., etc. Sin, shame, and evil came as a result of transgression against God's command. and so forth. Serpent. Serpent metaphorically is another name for Satan and is often used in both written and vernacular speech. We often say, "He has been a snake in my house," which means he has been an enemy in my house. Jesus told his disciples that they could handle serpents, meaning enemies. Mark 16:18. So these silly people down the line south that handle snakes and then they get poisoned, bitten by it and poisoned and die, well, you read the scriptures wrong, buddy. The term Satan or devil was not known to the early Hebrews, nor does it occur in the early books of the Bible. That's why those rabbis say, no, you've got it all wrong, Christians. He was a worker for God, right? He tested man, all this sort of stuff. And one of these French accented rabbis said, compare him to that movie of Willy Wonka, the original, with Gene Wilder, where he had that assistant Wilkinson, and he was a crafty looking guy, etc., sneaky looking dude. So every time they got a ticket, he'd whisper in the children's ear, right? And at the end, Charlie gave him back his gobstopper and all this, and he says, Willy Wonka smiled because he gave back his honest, right? The only one that was honest, even though he broke the rules. He said, oh boy, you won, you know, all the chocolate with the factory, whatever. And then Wilkinson came in and he goes, oh no, it's that guy. She says, no, don't worry about him, he's my assistant, right? Okay? He was testing you. It's like the devil. Okay? Because he was created, according to these rabbis, to do God's work. So how could he go against him?